The moment her shoulder twitched beneath my hand, like I was something disgusting, I knew. No words, no fights, no broken dishes. Just that recoil. She didn't even look at me. Just kept folding laundry with mechanical precision. Her lips pressed into that thin line I used to think meant she was concentrating. Now I'm not so sure. Maybe it just meant she couldn't stand me anymore. "You okay?" I asked like a coward. She didn't answer. She pulled one of my shirts from the basket, held it up, and dropped it without folding it. And then, the only word she gave me. "Don't hug me now. Not don't touch me. Not I'm upset. Not even leave me alone. Just don't hug me now." Like affection for me was an inconvenience. An interruption. An itch. I didn't speak. Didn't move. Just stood there for maybe 10 seconds too long while she folded a towel and turned away. My throat burned, but I swallowed it. My hands hung useless at my sides. And then I left the room like a guest who had overstayed his welcome in his own house. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I was angry. I'm not even sure I was. It was worse than that. I felt erased. Like my existence in her world had become optional. Decorative. A lamp she didn't turn on anymore. So the next morning, I tested a theory. I didn't say a word. I got up early. Made no breakfast. Didn't pour her coffee. Didn't refill the bird feeder like I always do on Saturdays. I didn't even open the blinds. I wanted to see if she'd notice. She didn't. She just walked around me like I was furniture. Furniture she used to like, but now resented for taking up space. She left the house in leggings and that gray hoodie she only wore when she wanted to feel invisible. No goodbye? So I decided to vanish first. Not forever. Just enough to make her feel what I felt standing behind her the day before, unwanted. But I had no idea that stepping out for one day, just one, would flip her world upside down. Or that within 24 hours, I'd come back to something shattered. And someone sobbing on the bathroom floor. I didn't leave a note. No passive-aggressive goodbye scribbled on the fridge, no silent message in a packed bag by the door. I took my keys, wallet, phone, turned off, and the flannel she once said smelled like safety. I wasn't running away. I was erasing myself, just to see if it mattered. I drove to an old, forgotten motel 30 minutes outside town. The kind of place where the vending machine doesn't work and the sheets smell like cold air and bleach. I laid on that stiff mattress with the window cracked open and listened to the wind like it owed me something. It didn't. Nothing did. Around noon, I turned my phone on just long enough to check. No calls. No texts. Just a single notification from the bank. She'd bought something from a plant nursery. Of course. She always ran to plants when she didn't want to face people. I used to think it was endearing. Now it felt like she was burying something. By evening, curiosity started chewing at me. I didn't want to care. But something primal in my gut whispered, "Go back. Just drive past the house. Just look once." So I did. And I wasn't prepared for what I saw. Her car was still in the driveway, but the lights were on in every room. All of them. Even the attic. The front door was open, just slightly. Like she'd run out and forgotten to close it. I parked across the street and watched from inside the dark of my car. Then I saw her. She darted from the kitchen to the hallway, barefoot, hair a mess, holding her phone like it was a lifeline that had betrayed her. I watched her step into the living room, then backtrack to the dining room like she was looking for a lost child. She even opened the closet near the entryway. That damn closet. Like I'd be hiding in there. I swear to God, she said my name. I couldn't hear it, but I saw her lips form it. Twice. She looked scared. Not annoyed. Not inconvenienced. Scared. My stomach turned. She thought I was gone. Really gone. And for a moment, just a moment, I felt like I had control again. Not in some toxic, twisted way. Just like I existed. And then I ruined it. I rang the doorbell from across the street using my smart home app. Just once. A soft, digital ding echoing through the quiet neighborhood. She froze like a statue, turned, and then bolted out the front door in socks. "Vernon." I didn't respond. I backed the car away slowly and turned the corner. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I wanted to see how far she'd run. Maybe I wanted her to taste the panic I've been choking on for months. Or maybe I wanted to know if she still loved me when I wasn't there. But I wasn't ready for what she did next. She called the cops and told them I was missing. When I saw the squad car pull up to the house, my heart did something weird. Not fear, not guilt, but something colder, quieter. Like dread, but numbed out. I watched from the shadows at the edge of a neighbor's driveway. tucked behind their hedge like a creep. Two officers stepped out slowly, one with a notepad already in hand. She waved them inside like they were pizza delivery, not law enforcement. And that was when I realized something that knocked the breath out of me. She looked frantic. Not like someone who was trying to cover her tracks, or fake concern, or save face. No, this was real. Her cheeks were red, not from crying, but from panicking. Her hands kept brushing her hair behind her ears in rapid repetition. I recognized that motion. She only did it when she felt out of control. The cop stayed inside for over 40 minutes. I didn't move the entire time. My legs went numb in the crouch, but I just stared at the front windows like they'd somehow reveal what was happening inside. I expected her to cry, or lie, or play the abandoned wife. But when one of the officers finally stepped outside and started speaking into his shoulder radio, I caught fragments through the night air. Adult male, last seen. Car missing, spouse claims emotionally withdrawn in recent weeks. I blinked. She said I'd been distant. Not she pushed me away. Not he's been trying, and I shut him out. She painted herself like the victim. My mouth went dry. For the first time since I left, anger began to creep in under the skin, slow and hot. Not because she reported me missing, but because she twisted the story before anyone even asked. And then, because I'm pathetic, maybe, I still wanted to believe she had a reason. Something deeper. Something she couldn't say to them. Something she might still say to me, if I gave her the chance. I waited until the patrol car drove off. Her front porch light was still on. I stood on the sidewalk, halfway out of the shadows, watching her through the living room window. She was sitting on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, the TV on but muted, flashing a frozen image of some sitcom laugh track no one was laughing at. I should have walked away. That's what I wanted to do. Vanish again, go back to the motel, let her sweat. But instead, I did something worse. I unlocked the back door with my key. It was still there. She hadn't changed the locks. The door creaked slightly, and I paused, expecting her to come rushing in. But nothing. Silence. I stepped into the laundry room and listened. Still nothing. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like my ribs might crack. I crept down the hall toward the kitchen, each footstep a thunderclap in my brain. That's when I heard it. She was on the phone. I don't know what to do, she whispered to someone. He's just gone. He's never done anything like this. What if he's trying to punish me? What if he knows? My breath caught. Knows what, Corinne? She didn't cry. She didn't sound sorry. She sounded afraid. And not of me. Of something else. Something deeper. And then she said it. I told you not to text me anymore. If he finds out. The line went silent. I heard her take a shaky breath. I'll delete the thread. Just don't call again. I backed away slowly, like I'd touched a hot stove. My chest felt like it had been hollowed out with a spoon. I left through the same door I came in. Quiet. Controlled. She had a secret. And she wasn't deleting it fast enough. I didn't go back to the motel. I parked 3 streets down and sat in the dark, just breathing. Or trying to. I don't know if it was anger, grief, or humiliation, but something inside me was grinding like gears with no oil. That phone call, her whisper, that sharp little panic in her voice, it wasn't nothing. It wasn't paranoia. It wasn't in my head. And the way she said, if he finds out, it looped in my mind like a broken record. The tone wasn't worried about me. It was worried about being caught. At some point, I realized I wasn't blinking. My eyes were dry and wide like I'd forgotten how to function. The rational part of me was trying to get my attention. Just leave. Cut her out. Don't turn this into something worse. But I didn't listen. I couldn't. I needed answers. No more guessing. No more watching from the sidelines of my own life. So I waited. I waited until I was sure she was asleep. At 1:53 a.m., the upstairs light blinked off. I gave it another hour. At 2:47, I walked back to the house, through the side gate, across the garden we used to weed together on Sundays. I still remembered which board on the porch creaked and avoided it like a thief who knew the layout by heart. The back door was locked this time. She had locked it after all. But I still had the spare hidden under the rusted barbecue, taped in a film canister she forgot about years ago. She never checked the old hiding spots. Never thought I'd need to. I entered silently. The floor groaned faintly beneath my feet as I moved through the kitchen, holding my breath with every step. Upstairs, the hum of the ceiling fan was the only sound. Her phone was usually charging on the right side of the bed, her side, on that little cedar nightstand I built with my own hands the first year we moved in. And it was there, plugged in, face down. I stared at it for at least a full minute, heart pounding, not touching it. I wasn't proud of what I was about to do, but I wasn't going to pretend I was above it anymore. This wasn't about dignity. It was about truth. I reached for it, gently tilted it up, and the screen lit up. No lock. No Face ID. Nothing. She trusted the darkness to keep her secrets. Or maybe she didn't think I'd ever look. There were no recent messages in the main text thread. Nothing in WhatsApp. Nothing in Messenger. Clean. Sterile. Like a polished crime scene. But when I opened the Photos app, something caught my eye. A folder called Archived. Hidden in plain sight. Inside were 6 screenshots. I opened the first. It was a message thread, not with a name, but a number. Unnamed. He's so passive, it's almost funny. He wouldn't even notice if I was gone all night. I keep pushing him just to see if he'll finally explode. Nothing. Just more pancakes and compliments. I stopped breathing. She was testing me. The next screenshot. Don't feel bad, babe. You're not a bad person. He's just not your match. He doesn't challenge you. You deserve fire. He's warm milk. Warm milk. My knees almost gave out right there. I had to sit on the edge of the bed, phone still in hand, screen glowing like it was mocking me. I scrolled to the final image. It was the worst one. A photo of us, from last Christmas. I was in that awful red sweater she made me wear, holding up a plate of burnt cookies like an idiot. And beneath it, a message. God, look at him. How was that ever enough for me? Something cracked in my throat. A sound, not a word. I clutched the phone like it was venomous. She didn't delete the photos. She didn't even bother. Because deep down, she didn't think I could be dangerous, or assertive, or strong enough to fight back. I was Vernon, doormat, pancake flipper, warm milk. And in that moment, I realized something worse than betrayal. She didn't fear losing me. She didn't think I was even capable of leaving. She was wrong. I sat on the edge of the bed long after the screen dimmed. Her breathing was steady, soft, even, like nothing was wrong in her world. The woman who had just mocked me in private texts, who had laughed at my loyalty like it was some sort of character flaw, was asleep 4 feet away, wearing the pajama shirt I'd bought her in Portland last fall. She looked peaceful. Meanwhile, my chest felt like it had been hollowed out with a spoon. I could have thrown the phone at the wall. I could have shaken her awake, held it in front of her face, screamed, "Explain this." But I didn't. Not because I'm noble. Trust me, I'm not. But because that's what she expected. For me to finally snap in some big, messy, emotional scene where she could cry and make me feel like the aggressor. That would have given her power. That would have made her the victim. Instead, I got up. I put her phone exactly where I found it. I walked back downstairs, grabbed a pen, and tore a page from the old shopping list notepad on the fridge. The one with little cartoon vegetables on it. I wrote her a message, 1 sentence, no signature. I saw what you wrote about me. I'm leaving for good, but not before I leave something behind. I didn't explain what I meant. I wanted her to stew in it, to wonder, to panic. I left the note in the microwave, the only place I knew she checked every morning to heat up her tea. And then, I pulled the real card out of my pocket, a printed copy of the screenshots. Every one, taped, carefully, to the inside of her favorite houseplant's pot. The Monstera. She watered it religiously, like it was her emotional support organism. She'd never miss it. But she wouldn't find the pages until later. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But when she did, it wouldn't be because I handed them to her. It'd be because they'd been there all along. I took my time walking out. I didn't rush. I wasn't angry anymore. I was something scarier, calm. And when I drove away, I didn't go back to the motel. I went home. Not our home. Mine. The one I inherited from my uncle 3 towns over. I'd been fixing it up slowly on weekends for years, telling myself it was for future projects. But that night, it became my shelter. My place. My reset button. I spent the next day in silence. No calls. No texts. I turned the phone back on briefly, just to see. 8 missed calls. 2 voicemails. A text that just said, "Vernon, please." No apology. No explanation. No panic yet. She hadn't found the note. Not that note. But I knew her. And I knew her mind would start spinning the moment she woke up and read my words. Not knowing what I left behind would drive her insane. That was the point. Let her imagination do the work. Let her feel what I've been feeling for months. Uncertain, paranoid, hunted by thoughts that won't sit still. But by day 3, the tone changed. The voicemails got shakier. One had a sniffle in the middle of it, almost a sob. I replayed that one a few times, not because I enjoyed it, but because it felt like confirmation. Proof that she wasn't in control anymore. Proof that I had left a crack in the perfect image she thought she built. Then came the message that hit differently. Please, just tell me what you found. That was the moment I knew the plant had revealed its truth. I could almost see her reaction. Crouched on the floor, hands trembling, reading her own words printed on cheap office paper, taped between the roots of the one thing she nurtured. The irony? It was me who put those plants under sunlight every morning when she was running late. But now I wasn't there. And that house, our house, was darker without me in it. Not because I was extraordinary, not because I was loud or dramatic or powerful, but because I was the thing that kept it stable, even when she couldn't see it. She had called me warm milk, but now she was thirsty, and I wasn't pouring anymore. She didn't find the house. Not at first. I'd never brought her here, not even once. This place, with its peeling shutters and stubborn plumbing, had always been mine. She used to make fun of it, call it my man cave mausoleum. Said it smelled like sawdust and loneliness. But it was mine. And for the first time in 5 years, I was glad she'd rejected it. It meant I had somewhere untouched. Somewhere to breathe. But she found it anyway. I don't know how. Maybe she guessed. Maybe she tracked the car's GPS. Or maybe she tore apart every drawer in our house until she found a crumpled property tax notice I'd forgotten to shred. However she did it, she showed up on a Wednesday morning just after 11 a.m. Hair tied back, no makeup, and wearing the coat I gave her on our 3rd anniversary. The one she said felt like being hugged by clouds. That irony didn't miss me. I watched her through the peephole for a full minute before opening the door. She stood there with a paper coffee cup in one hand, my favorite roast, from the little place near the courthouse. Like a peace offering. Like coffee could erase betrayal. When I opened the door, she smiled. Tight. Hollow. Hey, she said, like we hadn't spoken in years, and this was some awkward high school reunion. I didn't answer. Just stood there, waiting. I didn't know where else to go, she added. Still, I said nothing. I wasn't going to make this easy. She shifted, clearly uncomfortable, then held out the cup. I brought you. No thanks. I interrupted, my voice dry and flat. She paused, pulled the cup back like it burned her. For a second, she looked like she might leave. But she didn't. She stepped forward, 1 foot inside the doorframe. Testing. Can I come in? She asked, softer now. I wanted to say no. I meant to say no. But curiosity is a dangerous thing, especially when it's laced with leftover affection and just a hint of ego. So I stepped aside. She walked in slowly, scanning the place like she was looking for proof of another woman, as if I was the one who needed to be checked. She sat on the edge of the couch, knees together, hands gripping the coffee cup like it was a lifeline. I found the screenshots, she said after a moment, not looking at me. I know. I didn't mean for you to see them. That sentence made my jaw clench. I turned toward the window so she wouldn't see my face twist. Then why'd you keep them? I asked. Why save them at all? Silence. When I turned back around, she was biting her lip, not in guilt, but calculation. Like she was choosing which version of the truth to feed me. I guess. I wanted to remember how I felt, she said finally. How you felt, I repeated flatly. Not how I would feel reading them. She looked up at me for the first time, and there was something behind her eyes that almost resembled shame. But only almost. I was angry, she said. At you. At me. At everything. I felt invisible, Vernon. Like I was living with a ghost who never fought back. I needed someone to talk to. Someone who saw me. That person you were texting, they saw you? I asked. Is that what this was? Her face flickered. She didn't answer, which was an answer in itself. I let the silence hang. And then she said something I didn't expect. I didn't cheat on you. I blinked. But you wanted to, I said, voice low. You were rehearsing it in your head. You were auditioning for a version of yourself that could. That would. She didn't deny it. I didn't go through with anything, she said. But yeah, I thought about it. I fantasized about it. Because I thought you didn't care. You just smiled and made me eggs and left me space and never fought for me. I laughed then. Not because it was funny, because it was absurd. You think love is about fighting? You think being cruel is a test someone's supposed to pass? She looked down at her hands. I just wanted to feel something, she whispered. And I wanted to feel safe, I said. We don't always get what we want. She was quiet for a long time. Then she stood, walked toward the door, and paused. I don't know how to fix this, she said without turning around. I'm not asking you to, I replied. She nodded once. And then, just before stepping out, she said something that stuck with me for the rest of the day. You weren't warm milk, Vernon. You were the one thing in my life that never boiled over. I just didn't know how rare that was. She closed the door behind her, and I sat back down, wondering if what she said was an apology or just another excuse dressed up in poetic regret. After she left, I didn't move for hours. I sat in the same spot on the couch, her words echoing in my head like the tail end of a song that wouldn't fade. You weren't warm milk. For some reason, that line stung more than the screenshots. It was meant to be flattering, maybe, a compliment wrapped in guilt. But all I could hear was the past tense. Weren't. She was trying to walk back the damage, not by owning it, but by reframing it, making herself the victim of her own loneliness. That was the trick. Make it about feelings. About, I didn't know how to love you. About emotional confusion. Not betrayal. Not cruelty. Not the fact that she treated my affection like a pair of shoes she outgrew, but didn't have the decency to donate. The truth? I had fought for her. Not with yelling. Not with jealousy. With consistency. With coffee in the morning and oil changes she never noticed, and a million quiet acts of love that she chalked up to passivity. That's what broke me. That's what I couldn't say out loud. Not to her. Not even to myself, until now. The next morning, I printed the screenshots again. This time, I didn't hide them. I slid them into an envelope and mailed them to her father. He always liked me. Told me I was the first decent guy she ever dated. He even once drunkenly said at Thanksgiving that I made her tolerable. I never told her that, of course. But he saw things. Quietly. From the background. I didn't add a note. Didn't sign it. Just the screenshots, printed in black and white, raw and emotionless. Let the words speak for themselves. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity. She spent so long building a version of herself that only looked whole when I was beneath her, when I was small, compliant, grateful just to be there. Now, I wanted the people around her to see the version she tried to hide. Not to shame her. Not to ruin her. Just to take back the narrative. And then something strange happened. Around noon, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it ring. Then it called again. And again. On the third try, I answered. Vernon, a voice said. Not hers. His. Her father. Yeah, I said slowly. Long pause. I got the envelope. I said nothing. Another pause. I'm sorry, he said. His voice was quiet. Heavy. I should have seen this coming. But I thought she'd grown out of it. Out of what? I asked, even though I already knew. Out of sabotaging good things. I sat down slowly, not trusting my knees. She's a mess right now, he said. Showed up at my house crying. I haven't seen her cry like that since her mother died. She says she doesn't want to lose you. She already did, I said flat. She says she didn't cheat. I know, I replied. But she trained herself to. Silence. Then he said something I didn't expect from a man like him. Old school, blue collar, allergic to emotion. I'm not calling to convince you of anything, he said. I just wanted you to know I'm proud of how you handled this. You didn't scream. You didn't smear her online. You just walked away with your head up. That was the moment I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Dignity. Not revenge. Not justice. Just that quiet, solid feeling of having done the right thing, even if it left scars. After we hung up, I sat outside for a long time, watching the wind move through the trees like it was rearranging the air just for me. My phone buzzed again. A message from Corinne. I'm sorry I didn't see you clearly. You deserved more than I gave you. Then a second message. If you ever decide to talk again, I'll be here. But I understand if you never do. No pleading. No gaslighting. No promises. Just the end. And maybe that was the most honest thing she ever said. It's been 6 weeks since Corinne walked out of my borrowed house and sent that final message. I didn't respond. Not out of spite, but because there was nothing else to say. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is leave the silence standing between you and the person who shattered you. Let it echo. Let it speak for itself. I didn't burn the screenshots. I didn't delete the voicemails. But I didn't obsess over them, either. I boxed them all up, every trace of the unraveling, and buried them at the back of the closet like a time capsule of who I used to be. Because I'm not him anymore. I don't wake up wondering what she's doing. I don't replay that moment in the kitchen, her flinch, her words. I don't reach for my phone, waiting for her name to appear. And the weirdest part? I don't hate her. I feel gratitude. Yeah, I know how that sounds. But I mean it. She broke something in me. But in the wreckage, I found parts one didn't know were missing. Parts that weren't weak. They were quiet, steady, loyal. And I finally stopped mistaking quiet for cowardice. I started rebuilding the old house. Not just the floors and pipes, me. I went back to my woodworking hobby, took on a few commissions. Someone even asked me to make pieces for a local art gallery. I laughed at first. Then I said yes. Last week, I got a card in the mail. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. Inside, one line. I hope you're okay. You always deserve to be. That was it. No signature. No plea. Just peace. I didn't write back. But I didn't cry either. Instead, I walked outside to the new back deck I built with my own hands, sat in the chair I carved from cedar, and listened to the wind brushing the trees. The same ones I thought would haunt me with memories of her. But they didn't. They sounded like me now. Still. Present. And finally whole. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. And no, I didn't win. This wasn't a game. But I walked away with something she can't touch anymore. Myself. And that feels better than any hug ever could.